Back to what I almost called it what I didn't say. I'm going to rebrand the show. Welcome back to your daily dose of dopamine, featuring what I didn't say in Matthew Moore. I'm Robert. We are talking all things what I didn't say because, truthfully, and I know you know this, but I want to make sure our viewing audience knows it too. This is to me a zeitgeist moment. The work you're doing, we're doing together, culminates so much of what I've been doing over the past 24 years through films, through a book, through a PhD program, a nonprofit. You know, your work and what has become our work, because I'm very proud to now highlight the screenplay that we've co-created here. It's a shining example, not just of something that needs to be said, but also a pathway toward for others to say, you have a story too. You have stories to tell, whether you're a person with Parkinson's, a family member, a care partner, a wellness medical provider. There's so much unsaid, unknown that could be told creatively, engagingly, artistically, in a way that could penetrate the public. I know you feel similarly about art and its value in medicine. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's so there's this double whammy that comes. The first whammy is cathartic. Like I'm finding words to describe my own story. I'm searching my heart for what did I really feel when I heard those words in the neurologist's office. So there's this double thing where it's so good for me, but it's so good for others. Because when I learned to be emotionally honest about this topic,
Mm.
that's when things change and shift, and that's when it becomes more than shaky old white man's disease. It becomes something real and heartfelt, and people are drawn to that, and they find out more they didn't know before you told your story, but now you have, and now they do.
I think that term you just used, emotionally honest, we could probably sit on and unpack for hours. And that I think is the heart of what we're trying to get, is more people to be emotionally honest, both the people with, and as you mentioned, the people on the side. And we were having a little side conversation about this as part of the script, as a matter of fact, because it came from one of the actors, did a great job, Hal, talking about that experience of how people react to the recently diagnosed person. Hal is a person who's a paraplegic based on an accident, right? So he doesn't have Parkinson's. However, as an actor, he said, this is about more than Parkinson's. This is about stigma and about the difficulty of how to react to somebody who's going through a difficult thing. And so there it is again, the emotional honesty in that moment. I wonder for you, that personal experience of the emotional honesty and how others have reacted to you. And again, if that's too much for right now, I know there are lines and barriers. We don't want to cross that, but does that at least put a moment of
Yeah,
truth to you?
I think I had an instinct that I needed to be upfront. But I have three older brothers, and they're a big part of my life. And for me to thoroughly explain to them, look, this is what I'm going through, and it's way more than a tremor. I'm facing this, I'm facing that, I'm facing this. And for me to be emotionally honest with them up front, with as much information as I knew about myself, that was so helpful to them and helped maintain our relationship, you know, helped us connect about this. And so they asked me, how are you doing? And it's not just how are
Yeah.
you doing, it's how are you emotionally? How are you? And so to have someone in my life who's interested in that and inquiring about it is super helpful.
Interested, inquiring, engaged, like you said, because that can be a very surface level question. You're right. People can say, how are you doing? Fine, move on. And fine is a four-letter word and a general lie for most people to cover for the emotional honesty they don't wish to go to. And understandably, I mean, it's a time, place, manner thing. You can't do this all the time. It'd be exhausting. However, if the other side is you never do it, it's exhausting in a different way. It
Yeah.
leads to fatigue and apathy, worthlessness, depression. So
Yeah.
we're trying to strike that balance of how to get to emotional honesty and then, I guess, recognize the relationships and set the tone for when to bring that forward.
I think you have to choose when, but you also have to choose who.
Yes.
So these
But
three
you can
these three
develop who too,
brothers,
can't you? Can't you? You can kind of teach people. to be
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. I knew my three brothers are a huge part of my life and always will be. And so my investment of time in them to sort of teach them, train them what this is about is worth it, to me. But it's kind of sad that I have to make certain choices because I can't have that level of intimacy with everyone. And so for them to see my play and to hear, that's why the play is useful, is because that's another teaching tool besides me communicating my own feelings. Here's something to watch and understand and learn so that I can pass that along to the masses or to people who are, you know, I, I'm not sure how to say this, but they're acquaintances. They're not someone I'm going to invest my time in. We all have people like that in our life. So that's why the play and the screenplay are going to be useful, you know, beyond
Yeah,
all the other ways.
you're providing, you truly are providing service with your voice, with your art, and allowing others to use it as a very active resource, right? One of the constants, and we'll get onto this in a minute because I know I got to cap this episode, but is you having to tell people, hey, by the way, folks, I'm not Paul. Paul is the lead character, and that brings forward something. Again, we'll talk in the next episode about how people tell their story and the power of this phrase, which you've given me, I've latched on so deeply to, aesthetic distance, to give yourself, permission. Anyway, we'll get to that the next episode.
Okay.